All right, moments ago, the Senate coming back into session for the week. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, that's not him, but he has taken the floor this afternoon. As you can imagine, blasting Trump's immigration executive order, calling, by the way, for the Senate to consider legislation to undo the controversial rule. So the Senate back in action. Of course, that executive order on immigration front and center. I'm joined now by Republican strategist Kevin Paul Scott and Ellis Henican, who writes the Trump's America column for the Metro newspapers. He's a busy guy these days. Ellis, let me begin with you. This executive order, I think there are those people out there that say, okay, we get it, this is what you said you were going to do. But it feels to me that it was a complete mess when they went to implement it. They didn't think it through properly. What do you say?
Well, it was a flop. I mean, it angered almost everybody. People inside the government, members of Congress, Republican and Democrat, virtually all of our allies. Keep your eye on the Republicans, though. In the end, they probably matter more than Chuck Schumer here. A lot of them are peeling away, and if they remain unhappy with Donald Trump's executive order, it may really have some real problems.
It's interesting. Kevin, let me bring you Kevin Paul Scott. It was a real mess over the weekend. It appeared that some of the federal agencies knew what was happening, others didn't. Some complied, others didn't. I mean, bottom line is it's a bit disconcerting. I would argue that the markets even reflect this a little bit today, that here we have President Trump, who apparently didn't really kind of convey what he wanted properly, and as a result, we're ending up in this, quite frankly, an international mess. What say you?
Yeah, I think you're right, Ashley. It is the first kind of flop for the administration. We can argue on whether or not it's a good policy or bad policy, but the implementation of it certainly wasn't easy and wasn't flawless. I think Ellis is right on this one. What's going to be interesting to watch is Republican response. You know, a lot of these protesters, they're not going to change Trump's mind. It's not going to change his administration's actions. But what is it going to do to sentiment in the country? Are they going to be able to peel off Republican support? That will matter not only on this issue, but on other issues as Trump is trying to get his legislation through this Congress.
That's a very good point. There's so much to talk about. Kevin, let me go to you on Supreme Court nominees. President Trump saying tomorrow night we'll know who this individual is. I'm assuming going to be conservative if they want to replace Antonin Scalia with someone in the same vein. How hard are the Democrats going to make it for this nominee to get through?
Well, here's what's interesting, Ashley. He moved up the nomination announcement from Thursday to Tuesday. And I think a lot of it has to do with this refugee situation. And here's the trick. 24 hours from now, the media is going to have to decide, are we going to cover more refugee or more Supreme Court? If they stay focused on the refugees, I think it's harder for the Democrats to have a substantive discussion to try to derail this nomination. So that makes it tougher for them. If they shift focus and they start focusing on the Supreme Court, that helps to kind of ease the waters on the refugee side. I think a lot of this is the strategy of it to keep moving so quickly that it's hard to gain any traction on what's actually being done.
What do you think, Ellis? A distraction move? Hey, look at the bouncing ball over here.
Who cares about substantive discussions? This is about Senate rules. I mean, listen, normally speaking, the Republicans would have a good argument. Hey, the guy's the new president. Let him make his appointees. As long as it's not someone totally off the wall, give it to them. But my goodness, we just went through just about a year where Republicans scandalously stalled President Obama's nominee. How can the Republicans now say this is somehow unfair or inappropriate? You just did it.
Do they go with a nuclear option and just get a 51 vote in the full Senate?
I don't think we know. Let's see who the nominee is. Let's see how Chuck Schumer is feeling. But I'm pretty sure the Dems are going to want to extract a little torture here.
Think Chuck Schumer may cry on this one?
Don't weep sad tears, okay?
You've never seen Chuck Schumer cry, have you?
I have never, but you know what? He may be crying a lot more. This seems to have connected with you.
He's set a president, that's for sure. All right, thank you. So we're already out of time. Kevin Paul Scott, Ellis, as always, thank you very much.